Hey everyone, welcome to Cairo Profit Podcast. I am your host, I'm Patra Francis, and today, this is where we talk about real ways chiropractors can grow their profit and pay themselves consistently and create freedom in their practices. And today, I got someone very special joining me today. Dr. Jimmy, he's done something most chiropractors can only dream of. He built 30 chiropractic practices, sold about 15 of them, and still owns 15 locations today. That is an incredible achievement. And I am so excited to have you here, Dr. Jimmy, and thank you so much for coming on. I think my first question that most of my listeners probably want to know is that when you get started, what made you want to open your first practice? And we want to hear about your journey. How do you become a chiropractor? And when did you realize that you want to grow beyond just one clinic?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Petra, for having me. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
I love these type of discussions and shows because one of the things that lacks in chiropractic colleges today is how to create a business out of chiropractic. So we're already serving the community and helping the world. So it's one of those things that we already have that foundation that to be a doctor, you want to help people, but how do you translate that into success? And my story is very different. So I'm the only chiropractor in my family at the time when I started. I have a family background. My parents were into business, although they worked in government jobs and so on. But my dad was into real estate and development and many different things. They're an immigrant family that immigrated in the 70s to Canada. I was born in Canada in the GTA area, and my journey is very different. So we growing up here in Canada, the struggle was very, very unique for immigrant families in the 70s. So they worked very hard. As you know, a lot of immigrant families come here, they have to work twice as hard
Mhm.
just to make it, whether it's language barriers, educational equivalencies, because they don't accept education from overseas to here. So sometimes that it becomes a difficult journey. So started out that all of a sudden I was in school and I was looking forward to what do I do in university? What do I do in school? So I was already, interested in business and things like that. But obviously, I loved healthcare. And at that time, we're talking about 1999 or 1998. At that time, chiropractic was starting to grow, and I didn't know too much about it. I knew that there's this profession that's helping the world. It's a doctorate. So I started doing some research and speaking to some chiropractors. I realized it was very impactful. It was helping people, and the lifestyle seemed to be very good from the chiropractors I spoke with. So it wasn't on call 24 hours a day, that kind of thing. It was a very preventative healthcare lifestyle. And as I said, I didn't know too much about it. So my journey went, I visited California. There were a couple schools at the time. I started looking at a lot of schools in America and Canada. And by chance, through somebody I knew, they were at Life Chiropractic College West in California. So I had the opportunity. I went down, visited. I said, this looks great, and I started my journey there. And immediately, by going into school, I realized that there's a shortage of chiropractic all over the world, especially my parents' home country of India. They had no chiropractic set up. So as a student, I realized that, hey, while I'm doing my education here and creating this
Yeah.
career, I'm going to go ahead and build and set up chiropractic in India at the same time. So I did that. And then upon graduating school, I realized real quick. So I came, as you know, student loans and debt and all these things happen. I knew right away that, hey, I'm already in debt from school from that. I have two choices here. Using my business background and my family background, I can go right into a clinic and create a
Mm,
business and try.
right.
If I failed, I can go and work for somebody. So it was one of those things. What do you do first? If
Right.
I worked for somebody right away, my feeling was then I may be stuck in that environment and I won't be able to open my practice. Remember, early 2000s was very different in Canada versus today. Everything was very difficult. I was very young when I graduated to get loans and get all these things. It was very difficult. But it worked out. I opened my very first clinic when I was right out of school at 25, 26 years old, something like that. And
Right. So you
immediately,
you at that time you decided to go open your own practice right away. And where I know that many listener probably want to know, especially if you just started your career, how do you find your fund? Are you coming from like a wealthy, well-off family that can provide you with that, or
yeah,
you go take like some type of bank loan?
yeah.
Maybe you can.
So, so good question. I mean, yes, if needed, I could have asked my parents to help, but I came to Toronto right from San Francisco area. I came to Toronto. In Toronto, there was a clinic for sale of a retiring doctor, and I was able to go to the bank, use some line of credits and small loans, and was able to get into the clinic right away. As I said, it was a risk, but I said if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now. If it doesn't go well, I'll work for somebody. But my
That's
mindset was very
amazing.
positive. My
Right.
mindset was I'm going to use my business background, put it into chiropractic, and see where it goes. And literally in the first 3 to 6 months, it went beyond my wildest dreams. And very shortly after that, within 6 months, I
In
bought my
3 to 6
second.
months.
Yeah, I graduated, and then right away I opened the clinic.
Right.
And within 6 months, I grew that business very well that I bought my second clinic right off the bat within 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How do you realize that at which point you are ready to open and expand the second one? Are you focusing on, seeing the patient and healing them directly yourself, or you choose it to maybe have a hire an associate to help you right away? Maybe
So
you have to.
as you know, before you can start replicating and doing things, you have to be an expert yourself.
Yeah.
So I used and applied. See, the biggest thing, Petra, and for all the listeners is, can you communicate the issue of the patient to the patient properly? When the patient understands why their body is in the way it is, or why they're in pain, or whatever their situation is, then they're able to commit to the treatments and be your patient. So it's called report of findings. Okay. Just like in accounting, when you speak to a client and you explain, this is what I can do for you, they're
Right.
looking at what you're doing versus another 10 accountants, and why are they picking you versus another doctor? Same thing. And I was very good, and I sharpened my skills at how to explain to a patient why I'm the right doctor for them. And that was why the income happened secondary. My goal was, how do I help the patient? But because of that, the word of mouth spread that this doctor's here. He's very good. He explains exactly what my issue is and how to take me from point A to point B to get me
Right.
better. And that's how it spread. So I built that system first.
Yeah,
Then I was able to train.
I think that's a very good point, Dr. Jimmy, because most of the time when we are practitioner, we just focus on, like healing it. But communication is so important because how do you explain it to the client in making sure that they understand that how we treating them? Because sometimes you don't see the result right away because maybe it takes longer, to see it. And if you come out like speak like too technical, they may think that that like too much or something. So that's a good point that when you have your own practice, not just your technical expertise, is also learn on how to communicate with your patient.
100%. I would say that's number one. If you can
Awesome.
communicate what you can do for the patient, and the patient buys into that, they automatically are attached to what you're going to do and fulfill the program. They're not going to leave, they're not going to drop out. They understand that my problem is going to take time to heal. And that's what we have to communicate. So it works. So I learned that system and trained other doctors to copy that system, and it's called the report of findings, as I said. And I was able to coach other associates, and that's how I was able to open multiple clinics, because then I would train an associate to sit in the clinic and deal with the patients.
That's amazing. But that's very like from 6 months. That when you get another location, meaning that you already train an associate before that, right? Like before 6 months.
Yeah, so right when I graduated, the clinic I took had a doctor in there that was just working part-time. So he was not the best communicator, but he was coachable, and I was able to work with him to build him up so he could learn the techniques of how to explain and communicate to the patients. Then I went to the new clinic, built that while this first clinic was already with a doctor. So I hired a doctor and they were able
Right.
to
But
run the
where
clinic.
did you get that type of skill set to be able to communicate? Did you like go taking like a coaching program for chiropractor, or how do you make that happen?
So to be very honest with you, it does depend on the type of school and the background. So first of all, I come from a business background. So my parents were very good communicators. My
Mm,
father, my brothers are very good communicators. So we already knew how to communicate. We were involved in the community and church and many things. So we had the skills to communicate. So I took those same communication skills and just put it to the profession I'm in. Anything you do, you just need to explain clearly in layman's terms what you do and how you can help somebody. So that's what I did. And to your point, Petra, not everybody is coachable on communication. I do believe there is a sense of innate kind of skill that has that value to communicate. You're able to communicate, and some people need a lot more help in coaching. So it just depends on the person.
awesome. That's a good point. Thank you. I'm sorry for interrupt. I want to hear after. You said you opened a second location, and how did you grow up from second location to 30 location? You were talking about how did you decided, from starting from like finishing school and having
Yeah,
zero location, open your business in like within 3 months, and then you
that's
grow to the second location. How did you the whole journey to go to 50 location? What is the challenges, what is the struggles
yeah,
that we
yeah.
would love to hear that.
Yeah. So I think where I was leaving off was that it was just opportunity and time. One thing is I had the right education. So the school I went to taught the most chiropractic techniques out of all schools. So it still is the case today. So if somebody came in with a certain issue, there was many ways to treat that. So I had the knowledge, I had the confidence, and I had the skills. The communication I told you of the report of findings was the last piece of the puzzle to explain to a patient why they should come to me or my clinics. So, really quickly after that, we started marketing the fact that our clinics were great for this type of condition or that type of condition or prevention to make sure your body's healthy. The word spread, and from two clinics, one to two, within 2 years, we were at 25 clinics. We were able to purchase and open new clinics. We were able to train new doctors in those clinics to to run the clinic and manage the clinic. So very quickly, just by timing, it grew beyond what I could have ever imagined. And our total by the end of before we sold a bunch of clinics was about 35 actually. It was 35 clinics. We had two in the United States. We had some in India. We had affiliates all over Canada. So it was about 35 clinics. And then the opportunity came, as I told you, that we were able to sell a number of our clinics, and we did exit that out. But as I said, finding the right doctor in those locations and training them, that was the key. You have to have a foundation, you have to have systems, you have to explain and make sure that they understand the report of findings so they're able to explain it. This is the number one thing. Now I coach doctors, I help a lot of chiropractors now. And the number one issue I find now, still to today, is communication and how they're doing the report of findings and explaining it to the patient so the patient believes you and they're committed to your care plan.
Right. um so what did you find is like the most challenging, because it's almost like you are shifting from practitioner to become like like a leadership role, and then creating a system. And I mean, most of the time when I talk to chiropractor, in the US anyway, the most problem is about insurance, right? That they don't get paid right away. They have to wait for 6 months or even a year, or even, sometimes they don't even get paid. I know that you have to practice in the US, and many practices in Canada and in India. Do you have the same challenges when you?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Okay, so as I said, there's many ways to practice. If a doctor is fully insurance based, even the same system in Canada, everybody has insurance. But that is where I say, and again, this is not against anybody that practices any way they want. But when the focus is insurance and you talk to the patient about insurance, the conversation and communication becomes about my insurance and my money, not about my body and my healing. That is why I was mentioning to you the communication should be, how do you explain to the patient that I need this much chiropractic care for my body to heal, for my body to be at its optimal best. When the patient is focused on the body, it does not matter what it costs or how much insurance there is, they are committed to you. And that's my experience for over 20 years now. I've never had an issue where a patient is talking to me about insurance or money versus how do I be healthy? How do I be my best self? And
Right.
this is again, and again, I'm not going to discount some people have financial issues. They have issues with insurance. I totally understand that. But most people will find a way to make sure they take care of their health before it's too late. And I'll give you an example. I mean, let's say you break your arm, God forbid. You are going to go to the hospital whether you have insurance or not and say fix my arm. They're gonna, it doesn't matter what it costs, or if your child is sick, you're gonna do whatever it takes. The same thing with our body. I know myself that if patients have come to me saying I have financial challenges, however, I will make the adjustments in my own life to make sure my health is foremost, my body is taken care of through chiropractic care. That is my priority, and I will shift things around. But that only happens, Petra, when they understand the communication clearly of why they're there and what goals they're attaining by seeing you. Okay? Because a chiropractor just adjusts the spine, the body heals itself, as you know. And
Right.
I am an evidence-based doctor, just so you know. So it is all about science. Our education system of chiropractic is science. The founders of chiropractic is science. But the thing is, how do you explain the science of chiropractic with the philosophy? Once they understand that, I'm very sure patients will stay, and you won't have that problem. That's why I encourage all your listeners and all chiropractors, if they're not at at 100% level on how to communicate chiropractic, keep taking courses, talk to the expert, talk to the best doctors in the field that can teach them the little tricks and tools of how to communicate what they know, the knowledge they know.
Right. Yeah, I've heard like some amazing story. Like my boyfriend, like one of his team member, his kid got like some headache, and he would go to a regular MD general doctor, and they would like just give him like a painkiller, and they were gonna do like a lot of analysis on him. Then he
Mhm.
went to like one of the chiropractic practice, and they're just like adjusting the scope or whatever it is, and the headache is gone. And I think that in your profession, it's amazing that how much you can help the body heal and help the body like to
Mhm.
at the optimal health, right, instead of just treating the symptom. And yeah,
You said it perfectly. See, if people understood that part, it's not just about the symptoms, it's understanding the why you're there. It's understanding what the adjustment does. Like you're talking about headaches, you're talking, it could be a C1 Atlas problem, it could be anything. How do you communicate that to you or your child that this is the problem? If you do X, Y, and Z, you will have less problem. Let the body heal itself as long as the spine and alignment is in the optimal shape it's supposed to be. This is the challenge, Petra, that I find in the profession. And again, not to discount anybody's education, but every school is different. Every school teaches things differently. And I believe that all chiropractic colleges, even medical schools, should be teaching the art of communication so people understand the why. Once you get
right.
it, you're not going to back off. You will keep going. My own children, I have 4 children. They know when they need an adjustment. They say, Dad, I need an adjustment today. I feel this or I feel that. They know. When you know your body and you understand, you'll come automatically to that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. To hear the story like that, and I think people should know more. And
That's
that's why we create a podcast too, so people can understand and
correct.
appreciate chiropractor more. And and so my question here is, would you suggest that because there are some practice that they just go cash only, don't take any insurance, and some, they would take insurance too. What is your suggestion here? Do you think that many practices, should they take insurance or not taking it at all? But maybe the cost of like adjustment may be lower. Or how do you structure your practice? Um,
So I will never say no to insurance or no to cash. You should do all, take all.
oh,
I don't believe everybody's in a different boat. If somebody wants to pay by cash, because my report of findings is based on the problem. If this is how much it costs, I'm very clear to them. Out of this cost, insurance will be this much, and the balance will be this much cash. So that doesn't really matter. Remember, when the patient understands, it doesn't matter. But I have no fear of using insurance and dealing with insurance company. That's part of life. We have many patients that come in with car accidents and whatever, and insurance is covering that. I cannot say no to that. I will take anybody and everybody. We have babies all the way to senior citizens, and it doesn't matter what situation they're in. My office will work with them to make sure they can come and afford chiropractic care. And if they can't, we will find ways. But I will never turn anyone away from getting the message of how chiropractic will help them. I will never stop anybody.
Yeah, that's a good point because you are here to serve and to heal
Absolutely.
people. And
Yeah.
insurance or cash, it doesn't really matter because the goal here is you want to help people, right? But then I think like just like I mentioned earlier, and like I know that many chiropractor, we are here, they have like purpose driven and they want to help and serve community, right? And sometimes they mix between their personal purpose and the business purpose. My belief is that business purpose should be, mm, is to create profit, because in order when you have a profit in your company, you can use that profit to serve the community. And if you don't have profit, then many chiropractic practice have to shut down. How do you manage your finances, and like how to make sure that each location is profitable before you get into the next one? Or yeah, I would like to hear your thought
Yeah.
around that.
So this is a very important topic. You have to make money in what you're doing. Okay.
Yes.
So I've been very fortunate. I made a lot of money in chiropractic. Chiropractic has given me everything I have. All the things I enjoy in life is because of my profession. So I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity and I'm able to serve. But yes, you need to earn a very good living as a chiropractor. And I believe it is one of the best professions to earn a living if you know what you're doing. So as I said, you have a plan, you need a foundation. Then you need to understand marketing, how to market. It used to be in my day, newspapers, radio were the big thing. Now it's changed to social media. And you need to now be on top of social media and know how to be an influencer in your area. So wherever you live, wherever I live, I need to be the person that is known. I'm also very active in all community events, in politics, in local community churches, you name it. Anything that's in the area, they all know that I'm there as the chiropractor, so that if they think of anything, oh, somebody's in pain or somebody fell, the first person they think of is the person that they know the best. Everybody goes on trust, Petra, right? If they know that you are good at what you do, they will refer to you. And then the biggest thing in the office is the care plans. So my biggest thing is teaching chiropractors how to have committed care plans so the income level is high. I'm a believer in higher income and quality versus volume. Some people are in volume. They want to see hundreds and hundreds of patients quickly and do that. That's okay. Everybody has their own style. But I believe in quality, higher income, less volume sometimes compared to some other kind of practices. And to make $1 million practice is not difficult if you know how to set up the systems of that. And that's what I'm saying. That's one of the things I teach people. How do you develop that and how do you do the report of findings of a care plan so they're committed to that care plan? As an example, okay, just as an example, if a chiropractic care in your city is $50 a treatment, let's just call it $50 a treatment. Okay, 20 treatments equals $1,000.
Yeah.
500 patients in a year equals $500,000. Basic math. It's not hard to serve 500 people in your community I'm just giving you an example. So to hit $1 million, you need to have goals, right? Once you're able to set up those goals, I need to have this many new patients a month or a week or however it is. How do I make those patients understand what I'm doing and commit to a program of care that's going to help them? Once they get how it helps them, it's easy. To hit $1 million a year is not difficult. And again, that's some of the things I teach. It's hard on this call to kind of go into that,
Yeah,
but
it's a
if
lot
you're
of
if
things too.
but if you're not in social media right now and not an influencer in your area for chiropractic, you need to start that immediately. And there are companies now, Petra, that do that. I know so many companies I work with that just are experts in making sure your social media is set up and they're able to market you.
Right. So I know you touched base on the marketing piece, right? That is very important to bring in new patient coming in and also like have a good care in your practice so that they can uh, stay in your practice and work with you for a long time and you help them. When you talk about marketing, there are so many things to do. Like what you mentioned is you have to go to the community and so the community knows about you and then do social media and maybe do an ad and all that. It's like as a chiropractor you already been with patient all day, you wear a different hat. One day one during the day you treating patient, and then I mean after working maybe you helping take a look at social media marketing, even though you might not be the one who posts the video yourself or whatever, but you still have to put energy into it. Then and then maybe on the weekend you're going to work on your finances too. If you do everything yourself, how do you delegate your time like to do everything like that? Or what would you say in terms of like when is it a good time to hiring? It's like I go like your story is just so interesting to me, and I have so many questions for you, and sometimes maybe go everywhere. But whatever you mentioned, I just like want to pick your brain just for my listener to hear. Like, what would you say that would be the best marketing channel for the people who just get started? Which one
Mhm.
would be the cost effective and get the best return of investment? Right? Everything is all about ROI.
Absolutely. So again, when you graduate, that's when you're pretty much working nonstop, right? Because you're something new. That's the excitement of when you come in the profession. When I graduated when I was 26, that's all I wanted to do. How do you build a practice? How do you get in there? How do you learn different things, apply different things? So one of your key, I told you about foundation, right? So foundation also includes your front desk. Your front office manager, your front receptionist is the key person, okay? Because you can't be doing that 24 hours a day. That's why delegating to the right person is very important. You have to have the right office manager. I was very fortunate when I graduated that I had the right office manager in the first location, that they were able to essentially run and answer and all the marketing and all that and make you deal with their patients. So, but they were trained, right? You have to say, this is my style and this is what you need to do. So it was not difficult, but it was just more of the interview process of finding the right person. So in each clinic you have, that's what you got to do. Now, marketing, yes, you got to spend some time. Okay, so there is a situation where you got to spend time and say that I have to look at it. Initially, you have to look at it. There's not much you can do, but there's a point when you train your front staff or your the marketing companies nowadays, Petra, they actually do the work for you. They're giving you the solid leads. Where it fails is when the leads come into your clinic, are you able to convert those leads into patients? That's what
Right.
the bottom line is. And that comes down again to communication and the front staff management. Everybody hates a situation where they call, leave a message, and nobody calls back, or calling back a week later. So that is very important that you're on top of that. And again, when you have the right front end, it works. Now, finances, you're an accountant. I'm a very big believer you need a good accountant. Okay. There are so many ways that accounting helps you keep your money. And if you have a good accountant, you can keep the money. And I was a big Petra on investments. So I did all the money I made in the beginning years. I invested in real estate, stocks, bonds, you name it. I did a lot of diversification. So that is why I'm more comfortable now at this age, because 20, 25 years ago, I did that. I was able to put my money away into things that grew, and now I'm seeing the fruit of that now. So I always suggest new docs when I coach them, any little money you make, start investing even a little bit somewhere. I don't care if it's $50 a month, $100 a month. Put something away for a rainy day, or put something away into something that will grow, assets that grow. And again, that's more your advice, right, Petra? That you can advise, but that's what I would say
Yes.
is a key thing to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. Choosing the right accountant is so important. We use the term accountant very generic and it's very broad, but inside of accountant, we have, CFO, tax strategist, a bookkeeper, and like there's so many terms in there. You want to make sure that that accountant can help you increase your profits, reduce your taxes, and go over on your financial on the
Yeah.
monthly basis, help making sure that you understand where is your number is at and what is your profit for that month. Because if you don't know your number, it's almost like you're driving a car, but you want to go to California, maybe you end up with going to New Mexico instead, and that
Mhm.
costs you more money. So what you want to do is choosing the right accountant is very important. So you got
Yeah.
it there.
Well, I'll go one step further. Picking the right accountant's like picking the right chiropractor. If the chiropractor cannot communicate to the patient what they're doing, there are chiropractors that, to be honest with you, I wouldn't go to because I'm not confident in what they're saying. Same thing with accounting. I remember interviewing accountants back in the day, and some accountants that are up to date on the knowledge, they knew all the tax, ways to save money, the insurance, the, what you were just talking about, and tax strategies to save money or income splitting or whatever it may be. So there are many great ways, but again, if the accountant's not up to date on their knowledge, and you're just a person there, you're quick in and out, they're not going to be able to show you. So I always interview accountants and I say, do you know about healthcare? Do you know about business? When they know about business and they understand your business, they're able to work with you on that. So I agree with you. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with anybody. Communicate what you do. If you know how to take them from the goal A to B, you're the right accountant for me.
Yeah, and I also the way I look at it also, Dr. Jimmy, it's almost like you want to choose an accountant who proactive, right? Instead of a reactive accountant who just doing your historic record or preparing your tax return, which doesn't really give you the benefit of helping you have a clear picture of growing your company. It's the same thing as when you go to, is it my internet is pausing. It's the same thing as like with chiropractor. The chiropractor is more proactive than when you go to a regular doctor because they help you, to at your like the optimal health instead of being reactive and just treating the symptom. So that's the way that I would put an analogy, between choosing the right accountant or the same thing as going to a chiropractor.
100%. You got it. You got it. It's the same
Right?
thing. It's the
Yes.
same thing.
Or I have so many questions for you, and we can just talk all day long. And eventually, I know that we already like at like almost an hour, and I want to be
No problem.
respectful of your time. Maybe I can, invite you back if you have time. And later on, I would love to know more, like when did you decide to sell your practice and all that. But maybe stay tuned,
Yeah.
listener. I will.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
talk more later on, but. So I want to thank you so much, Dr. Jimmy. Has been an awesome, and thank you for sharing your story. Where
Thank you.
and here the best. If you can tell us like where is the best place for people to connect with you if they want to learn more about your journey or learn more about your practice.
Perfect. Yeah. So listen, email's the best. And Petra, they can contact you also and you can provide it. But my email is drjimmynanda@gmail.com, drjimmynanda@gmail.com. Best way to get hold of me and we can set up a call. I always love talking to chiropractors. People call me all the time. I heard you did this. I heard this. Can you share some advice? I love it. Whenever new grad students call me, I love sharing my advice and whatever I've learned. And again, Petra, nobody's an expert. I'm constantly learning myself. So
Yeah.
sometimes I will find and hear something going on and I'll apply it to my practice. So it is something that's we're always growing in life. And as I said, I'm always available. You can give my information to whomever you feel.
Yes, and what is the name of your practice, Dr. Jimmy? Is it all the location has the same name or it's different name?
So they have different names. So it's depending on what type of practice and what city it is. But I mean, there's so many, but I'll share that with whoever calls me and we can
Okay.
we can go with
Yes.
that. Yeah.
All right, sounds good, Dr. Jimmy. And for everyone listening, I hope you got inspired by this conversation. And remember, profit is not selfish, it's not evil. It's what gives you the ability to keep showing up for your patient and your community. If you're ready to get clarity in your practice finances and pay yourself with confidence, head over to profitbosshq.com and grab your free guide and or book a call with me. And thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you in the next episode. And thank you.
Thank you, Petra.